So my wellness journey really started before I was a psychologist. And so I really hadn't done sports or anything like that growing up. And I got to college and we had a fitness class and I could hardly run. I was so shocked and I just thought right then, oh, this has to be different. And so I started running when I was in college and ran for about 30 years, including, I think I ran 5 marathons, started yoga in college as well. It was a really long time ago, so it was an unusual thing. And so I had running and yoga in my life really, I have had for the last 30 years. And actually last year I did yoga teacher training because I'm hoping to offer trauma sensitive yoga because trauma is one of the areas that I work in. And so I have seen as a psychologist, and I also have a master's in public health, I've seen a lot of suffering that I feel like is unnecessary or could be, I sometimes call it offloaded. If people learned sort of the foundational elements of health and wellness, I really feel like to get our mood stable and to manage our anxiety in the most effective way, if we skip the foundational elements, it's very hard to get traction. So for a number of years, I've been really passionate about trying to start right at the beginning with everyone that I work with and teach it in public health settings. I've spoken to groups and done presentations at the American Public Health Association, and I always talk about this, that even if someone's had depression for many, many years, trauma, anxiety, whatever it is, I always start recommending various healthy habits about sleep, about eating, daily physical activity, daily pleasant activity, mindfulness, and focused breathing. So, and I work on those things in my own life. Well, I think that to be our best selves, we need balance. And a lot of times our work pulls from us things or whether it's time or energy that create imbalance for us. And so I think it's really important for each human being to reflect upon what they need to be the most balanced person they can be. And you can think of it like a pie graph of your life, and you want it to look like a pie with different pieces there, not half and half work and one relationship. We want it to have a number of different places where we get our emotional needs met, and that creates balance for us. So I think deciding oneself what you want and what you need to be balanced is really important, and knowing that what you feel like you need to be your best self and what the structures around you are asking for sometimes don't align very well. So then you've got to make decisions about that. I really love my work, and so I work with, I'm trained in a number of different things, and I've worked with kids and families for some part of my career, but I worked for UF Health Shands Psychiatric Hospital, Vista, in their outpatient department for 20 years before I came to the College of Medicine, and I really found deep meaning and fulfillment in working with people who have been chronically suicidal and self-injurious, including possibly being depressed and anxious for decades. And so the area that I've been working in for a number of years has been trauma. And also working with people who've been diagnosed with something called borderline personality disorder. And really, a lot of us are thinking these days that it's not a structural issue like most personality disorders are thought to be, but a skills deficit. People are born with more reactivity and don't learn the skills. I guess it's similar to the other things we're talking about, but don't learn the skills to manage themselves. And so the science shows us when people learn these skills, many of which are the same wellness skills you'd think of for anyone else, that they get better and they can no longer meet the criteria for something like borderline personality disorder, or even after decades of being depressed and anxious, possibly suicidal, maybe psychiatric hospitalizations, maybe a history of self-injury, people can get better. and get well. And I get to help people walk down that path. So I just think it's really a gift to me, and something that I can offer to other people to walk down that road to well-being. It's really great. Well, I exercise in the mornings, and so I have walked the dog. I've done some yoga, maybe been to the gym a lot of mornings. I have a family. I've got 3 kids and a husband. My kids are all grown. Um, I chose to work part-time while my kids were growing up until my youngest daughter got her driver's license. And so I think you just have to decide what your values are and try to align where you're putting your time and energy with your values. So I'm involved in a grassroots community initiative called Peace for Gainesville. That is a trauma responsive resilience building initiative. So I do training on resilience and trauma to community organizations. I'm trained in a number of mindfulness-based protocols, and so I meditate. I meditate with a weekly meditation group, and I also go off to a week retreat every year as well. And so I'm working on my own well-being really all the time. And I take the stairs. How about that? Well, a lot of people inspire me. My family inspires me. I would say in mindfulness, Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Zen master who brought mindfulness really to the West, inspires me. Um, Really just people working to put it together and do their best and to be their best self no matter what, that inspires me. I would say keep it simple. And so, our most important tools, I really think, or some of our most important tools, are our breath and our 5 senses. And so, what mindfulness is about is really about being present in our lives in a compassionate way toward ourselves and possibly others. And so, as much of the time as possible that we can be present in our lives for ourselves, for those that we're around, it's really important. And the breath, even with one breath where we breathe, maybe breathe in calm, breathe out tension, bring our awareness to the breath, let go of, excuse me, of wandering thoughts, worrying ahead, thinking backwards, or use the 5 senses. Ground awareness to the 5 senses. 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you touch. Using those senses in any order can be very powerful for helping us come to present moment. And I will tell people, I could teach you to do psychological backflips, but if we don't start at the beginning with some of these simple and powerful tools, we really will be going in the wrong direction. I might also say that because with stress, we are walking around with the fight or flight response happening, and so we have the, I guess, hyper arousal of those stress hormone systems, that even one slow deep rhythmic breath where the exhale is longer than the inhale stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, and so it can begin to stimulate that soothing part of the nervous system with one breath. Exhale longer than the inhale.